teenagers don't have good self-regulation. They say explicitly, I feel bad when I use Instagram and yet I can't stop. It is pulling families apart. And in places like Ethiopia, it's literally fanning ethnic violence. I encourage reform of these platforms.
Yeah, Facebook whistleblower Frances Haugen right there testifying before Congress on Tuesday. You watched a lot of that right here on DC Today as she detailed some of the negative things she witnessed while working for the social media company. Now an ex-employee, Haugen is hoping her testimony will persuade Congress to make reforms that will rein in Facebook. The question is, will Congress heed Frances Haugen's suggestion that Facebook be regulated, or will the company continue to do what it wants to do? Our political panel is back now to discuss all of this. During her testimony in front of a Senate subcommittee yesterday, that subcommittee on consumer protection, Haugen said Facebook leader Mark Zuckerberg answers to no one. Take a listen.
Mark holds a very unique role in the tech industry in that he holds over 55% of all the voting shares for Facebook. There are no similarly powerful companies that are as unilaterally controlled. And in the end, the buck stops with Mark. There's no one currently holding Mark accountable but himself.
Yet Mark is speaking out against Frances Haugen, pulling a playbook out of defensive PR, trying to discredit her and actually trying to bring her down, rather than acknowledging that there are problems that can be dealt with. So as we heard yesterday, Facebook has been used to foment ethnic cleansing. It's been used to interfere with elections, and white supremacists using it as a recruiting tool. Meanwhile, Zuckerberg says there is nothing to see here. Atiba, will anything change, one, the behavior of Facebook as long as Zuckerberg runs it?
Well, we've seen Zuckerberg come before this Congress and testify before. And to be honest, every time he comes, it feels as if Congress basically slaps him on the hand and says, stop trampling on our people. They go back away and there's no regulation. This is not going to change until, one, there is regulation, but also what Frances Haugen said yesterday isn't anything that we basically didn't already know or have a feeling about. But what it's doing now is it's putting it right there out front for us now again. Now, what I said to some folks on Sunday evening was, let's wait and see what happens on Monday morning. I honestly think that there probably should be some type of investigation as to what happened with the shutdown on Monday. Was there something else that was going on behind the scenes for the reason why the platform was down for Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp? I also think that what we also have to be looking at is our own behaviors. We can blame Facebook as much as we want to. The whole thing, too, goes back to what our behaviors are and how we feed into this. So there's a larger conversation, too, as I like to say, that America is morally bankrupt, is that we can blame Facebook for certain things, but Facebook is also feeding back what it's seeing and from our own behaviors. Will Congress do anything in regard to regulation? I think that there is going to be something that comes about this time. But I also think, as Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez said on Monday, is that think about the fact that we were not able to be on Facebook and Instagram and WhatsApp, that just like 100 years ago when you had the Carnegies and the Mellons and the Rockefellers, and that we had to create antitrust laws to break them apart, very much is a similar thing that we have here with not just Facebook, but Amazon and Google and a lot of these other companies that are multi-billion-dollar entities that pay very little in taxes. And that's part of what we've been talking about in terms of the infrastructure bill with Build Back Better, that we need to tax the rich. So there's a whole lot more components to this, but what she has brought forth, I'm actually more so looking forward to seeing what she's going to say before the Parliament in the United Kingdom in the next couple of weeks.
All right, so Facebook is more than a social media site. It can be used to spy on people, as we've heard through her testimony. China, for example, tracking usage of the site, and they surveil the Uyghur Muslim population around the world. Then there's other authoritarian companies using it to crack down on human rights activists. We've seen it spur violence in Myanmar, and of course the starvation going on in Ethiopia. And then the Russians used it against us. Quadricos, Haugen says the company is a national security risk because of that, and people want federal regulators to put the company under watch. But is the problem with Facebook bigger than what we thought?
You know, it seems that it is. There are, roughly 2.89 billion people worldwide that use Facebook. 2 billion people worldwide that use Facebook either for business purposes or socially. I want to underscore actually something Frances Haugen said yesterday in that conversation, which was she sort of pushed for the creation of a body, a regulatory body that would in fact have authority over Facebook, staffed with people who were capable of understanding research protocols produced by social media. As I said yesterday, that creation of any regulatory body should be extended beyond just Facebook, but it should establish a federal data privacy framework because of this issue that you just raised with regard of the global security and the amount of people globally that actually use Facebook. We know that the Russians use Facebook to intercede and interfere with the United States elections. We know that Facebook has been used as an underground technique for hate groups and terrorist groups domestically and abroad. We know that there has been some international infringements. And because of this, it is incredibly incumbent upon Congress to do something about it. It is incredibly incumbent upon Congress to hold Mark Zuckerberg accountable and establishing some framework. Again, the FTC can only do so much. The Federal Trade Commission can only do so much. I believe, and I hesitate to say this, that there needs to be an independent agency, or at least an agency under the Federal Trade Commission that actually looks and regulates digital platforms, or else we're going to continue to see this form of monopoly take center space in our democracy, in our federal republic.
Quadricos, thank you for that. Amisha, real quickly, is it time for people to consider boycotting Facebook?
It is, but people won't. At the end of the day, social media has connected us for so long. People acted like they couldn't breathe and basically had heart attacks when Facebook went down for a few hours the other day. So I don't think that that's going to happen at all. But to Federico's point, we're watching Facebook basically dismantle not only democracy here, but also democracies abroad. We watched how Brexit basically took off because of the false information that was being shed on Facebook. We also watched authoritarianism grow and spread because of the information being shared on Facebook. They're recruiting domestic terrorists, not only in America, but across the globe. So I think that there's more to this story, and I'm glad that a lot of it is finally coming to light in a big way. But I don't think that the Republicans in Congress are going to be pressing on any of these things. I don't think that that's the agenda they have, because as long as it means that they can win elections, even if it is through disinformation campaigns, they're not going to push Facebook to stop them.
All right, panelists, I thank you. Amisha, Atiba, Quadricos. We'll see you in the next hour when we discuss more.